Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. My name is Sam Shinazzi. I'm an OG from 2015, and this show is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. And we are here to almost put a full stop on the 2025 season. Can't promise you we won't do more on it, but this certainly rounds it out very well, because on the other end of this podcast, we have our good mate, Josh Bolling, our regular co-host, and certainly the last 3, 4, 5 years, he's been a stronghold in these end of season ratings. So we had to get Josh on and get his thoughts. Josh, how you going, my man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good to finally get this podcast. We've been trying to organise it for about a month now. Just things haven't lined up. So I'm ready to talk Sharky, and I've decompressed, and I'm ready to get some of it back out.
Yeah, we should point out mainly it's because of your social life, but we got you in the end. We pinned you down for a little bit. And let's talk about the 2025 season, Josh. I can tell you that we, as a club, won 17 games in the NRL this year, 17 of 27. We had a bit of a slump mid-year where we lost 4 of 5 games from rounds 12 to 17, the origin period, which pretty much kind of ruined the season, to be honest. But we never lost more than 2 games at a time. It was a very consistent season. And I think aside from that blemish in the middle, I thought it was a pretty successful one, but I would love to know what you thought overall about the year that was 2025.
Yeah, I think sometimes we do get caught up as fans as falling short and having rough years, but or being too kind, I think, to the team sometimes. But at the end of the day, we came 4th again. We didn't finish top 4, but we were one of the 4 best teams again. It's hard to criticize too much. At the start of the year, if we go back, I predicted or wanted and expected a grand final appearance. We'll probably a couple of good tackles and execution plays from doing that. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty successful year again for the club, for the coaching staff and the players. And we're just so close. And I think we kind of know what pieces we're missing and what we need to do to take that next step. But easier said than done. And I still have very high hopes again next year. I expect similar. I expect, potentially a week 2, week 3, and hoping we can just jag another grand final appearance and see how we go from there.
All right, that's all pretty fair. We're going to jump into player ratings. Now, I've given my player ratings. Clinton Maynard has given his, Kieran Fraser. So we're trying to get across everyone. We won't get to everyone on the show, unfortunately, just that's how life works. We had to get Josh in, that's for sure. So you won't be really hearing much from me about my ratings. Go back and listen to the episode. You'll find it with Clinton. I will, of course, discuss things with Joshy, though. But this is all about Josh and what he thought about the playing staff we had this year. And we're going to go in alphabetical order. And I can tell you first up is the now Dragon. Well, maybe tomorrow. November 1st is tomorrow. Soon to be Dragon. 16 appearances, 1 starting match for us this year, just the one, and that is Dan Atkinson. And if you could give him maybe a rating out of 10, but tell us what you thought about him anyway.
Yeah, an interesting one for Dan. I've always really liked him and as a player and what he brings to the side, and I find it hard to judge him just based off the fact that he was thrown all over the place, played probably 1 game in his preferred position, and excelled in that 1 game, I'd add. I thought he was excellent, playing injured as well. Sorry for all the sirens going off. Something going down at Cronulla, if you can hear that. I want to give him probably a 6, and that probably sounds harsh, but just purely based on the fact that we didn't see enough of him in the position he plays, thrown on for 10-minute stints, sometimes 15, played on the wing, scored a couple of good tries on the wing against Melbourne. I'm yet to decide if I think we're going to miss him next year. We got pretty lucky with injuries this year in those key positions that he plays. Mm-hmm. But I worry if we're going to get that lucky again next year and get a full season out of Nico and Tricky. Not that I think they'll get injured, but just luck base, the way the footy gods work. But I hope he goes well, not too well, but I think a 6 is fair.
Okay, awesome. I was going to ask you if we'd miss him, so thank you for answering that. We will have Puru, who's had a great season in Cup, and we have Riley Pollard, who's rising. He's still a little bit away, but he can handle his own if need be. So I think that the club sees a bit of depth in that position, but they probably also couldn't match Flano's checkbook either, to be fair. So it's a good buy to Dan Atkinson. Next up, we have the current captain. He played all 27 games, surprise, surprise, and had a breakout season yet again, Blake Brayley.
Yeah, I think from where he's come the last 3 years to where he is now, representing, or hopefully representing Australia, is pretty impressive, and I'm proud of him. Not that I know the guy, but just to watch him come through from when he was 18 years old when he debuted, 19 when he debuted, to, an elite, and if not, number 2 hooker in the game at the moment. I thought best year by far for his career, by far. Instrumental in so many wins. And just the fact of having that stability in the spine with him there, like 9 is such a crucial role these days. And there's not many good 80-minute ones getting around. And we're pretty lucky. And he's still got, potentially another 5-6 really good years in him. I'm going to go 9 for Blake.
Excellent. I think I was roundabout there too. Not much to fault there. Starting 13 games, making 17 appearances, cult figure turned superhero Bill Burns.
We've said it before. When we first signed him, I was like, what are we doing here? Like, this guy's never going to play a first grade game. And then it got to the point by the end of the season where we couldn't drop him. And I think he's going to make a really strong case next year. Had a couple of moments here and there, but I thought overall, performance-wise and output, like try assists, a couple of tries, some really good tackles, a bad miss against Canberra on the bell. I'm going to give Bill a really good 7.5, like a really strong one.
So I've been thinking about this long and hard about, do you start him next year, or is Britt an automatic starter? And I had come around to Britt's an automatic starter. I don't know if you just changed my mind there or not, but I think the conversation is there to be had, depending on preseason form, maybe trial form, attitude, and health. I don't think it's a guarantee. I think Britt has the running, like the inside running, but I don't think it's a straight out, here's your jumper back round 1, depending on a few things. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Josh, if Billy Burns started the game round 1, you wouldn't be like shaking your boots about what he's going to deliver.
No, I think we've seen that. I think we're past that point of worrying about what he's going to deliver and can he step up to the plate, because we saw it. How many games did he play this year? Probably 12
17.
or something. 17.
Started
there you go.
13, yep.
Yeah, so I think we're past the worry of can he do it, and can he do it week in, week out. And that's where the pressure is going to come on Britt. And you know what they say, like the pressure of people nipping at your heels will make or break you. And if Britt's going to know that, and you've got to hope that he's going to push himself now to go, I got to maintain this spot, because he's had a mortgage on it for probably 3 or 4 years. And now he's got a guy who wants his spot.
It's just interesting from a Moneyball point of view, and I'm not suggesting anything here because I love what Britt does. But Britt is on, I would imagine, I'm making this up, but 3 to 4 times the money that Billy Burns would be on. So it doesn't mean that Billy Burns won't go to Perth and get a good payday. It doesn't mean that maybe Britt looks around, or you know what I mean? There's a option there potentially if you wanted to shed one of them at some point. But anyway, I just thought I'd raise that, because I think that, Britt would be my starter. I wouldn't be like shocked if just for whatever reason they kind of kept what they were doing, but we'll find out soon enough. Next up, we have Jesse Colquhoun. He played 18 games. He started 5, more towards the end of the year with McInnes out. And I thought he went pretty good. What'd you make of Jesse Colquhoun, Josh?
I guess we all know that I'm probably one of his biggest fanboys. I thought he was outstanding. I really did. And I don't think that's even touched the potential of what he can and will be. I think he's going to be one of a major re-signing, not problem, but he's got to be like one of the first on the list. As a 24-year-old with the world at his feet, I think he could be a starting lock for New South Wales at some point in his career. And I would give him an 8, only because he missed a little bit of that year and was coming off the bench. Probably had one game, 1.5, where he was a little underdone and low performance. But even in the prelim, I thought he was outstanding in the prelim. Try-saving tackle from behind on Cam Munster, like chase down Cam Munster from the other side of the field and dragged him down before the line. Just those effort plays. And I love Cam McInnes. He's probably my number 2 to Jesse. But he probably doesn't do stuff like that. And the ball playing, we've seen, there's just little hints that we've seen that ball playing really starting to develop, and it helped reinvigorate the attack, I think, late season. I don't think there's any coincidence that him coming in changed the style a little bit.
Yeah. It's interesting because sources close to Cam McInnes tell me that Cam is pretty fired up to start the season, which I find extraordinary. I wouldn't rule him out given who it is, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. But anyway, if we take him for his word, which we should, Cam's aiming for round 1. But again, even if you take that injury out of the equation, coming back from another ACL, the same thing with Billy Burns and Britton Nicker. It's like, well, Colquhoun finished and he finished pretty good. So that's another debate to be had, especially when they're both fit. I think you and I agree that we'd go with Colquhoun, but it's an interesting one. We'll watch this space.
Do you think he'll get it at the start of the year, Sam? If let's say they're both fit round 1 somehow, Cam's fit round 1, do you think he will start Jesse?
I think given the injury he had, he would rather ease McInnes back into it. Now, if you're saying, are they both like completely fit in the dream world? That's a different debate. I think he leans towards him. Like Fitzgibbon is a bigger fanboy than you are of him. So it's tough. It's tough, but yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what the answer would be to that one, but I can't wait to find out. That's for sure. I do think that the offseason is going to play a big part. I'm not suggesting anyone has an attitude problem. Like they're all got great attitudes. They all love the train, etc. But I think that there might be a bit of competition there with your times and your weights and all that sort of stuff, and then throw that into the trials, which usually trials are kind of warm-ups, but there might be some competition in the trials is what I'm suggesting. And it's not just with the 4 we've mentioned, there's some more coming up.
I think also this will be probably one of the first times in a while that Jesse's going to have a full preseason as well, because he's been coming off big injuries the last 2. So can't wait to see him come out round 1. He's going to be ready to rip.
Now, big purchase for the Sharks. I didn't quite expect him to be an Iron Man, but he was. Played all 27 games, started all 27 games. The monster that is Addin Fonua-Blake.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I probably didn't expect 27 games out of him this year, or every game. And there's been chat about the expectation and what we got and all that stuff. I think it's all rubbish, to be honest, respectfully. I thought he was outstanding. And probably people not realizing how many injuries he was playing through and some of the off-field stuff that he was playing through. Like, I thought it was a mammoth effort from him, and just led from the front, at times carrying the side on his back for meters, defense. Exactly what I wanted. And you always hope, you always are concerned about expectation versus reality when it comes to signings. And you're like, is this guy going to really be what we want him to be? And I thought for probably 85% of the season he was. I thought he was outstanding, and I'd probably give him an 8.5.
Okay. Another prop, played 21 games, which we were thankful for. Started 2. Still had some injuries, but he's come through that. Expecting a big off season from him, and that is Braden Hamlin-Welly.
Yeah, mixed one for me. I thought his highs were really high, and his lows were pretty bad. There were some games there where he just couldn't catch a ball. Short passes to the line should never be allowed with Braden again, because I just don't think he can hold the ball. But I thought end of year he really strung it together, and what a coincidence that a player that gets to play games in a row, injury free, gets better, of course. But I thought his late surge was really strong, and I was probably of the mind that I'd be happy to see him go. And now I'm thinking if we could maybe get a reduction on the price for maybe another year or two, I wouldn't be disappointed if we can see that fit end of year Ueli we saw at the end of this season. So I'm going to give him a 6.5.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, we talked about it with him, and we talked about it amongst ourselves that there was a shift about 3/4 of the way through the season. He did an interview with, I think, Dave Riccio or with someone, talking about how he discussed it with his partner, and she said a few truths, and I'm taking myself completely out of this equation, so listeners don't freak out. But in the interview that I did with him, I said to him, because I feel comfortable talking to him, he's one of the guys I know better than the others, and I said, it looks like you're out of your own headspace. And he was like, yeah, that's exactly it. I'm just going out and playing footy. I'm not thinking too much. And that's what it looked like those last sort of 5, 6, 7 games. So hopefully he keeps that form up. Another big bopper, he only managed 6 games off the bench, and that was earlier in the year. And that was Big Tuku Haitapua. And if you don't want to give someone a rating because of lack of games, I'm not really fussed, but give me some thoughts on Big Tuku.
Yeah, probably. I don't think I could rate him just purely off minutes bench. He had there was a couple of games there where he was really strong for his stints, but he just doesn't get enough time, whether that's himself or the coaching staff. Could be both, but I still think there's a player there, but I think he's dropped down the pecking order this year. I think there's a couple of guys that have taken like Hohepa, Jesse Colquhoun back, Ueli fit, Toby fit. I think he's fallen down a little bit at the moment.
Still super young, incredible body, incredible attitude. So I think you hinted at it. I think he just needs more of a chance. Now, how you get that chance, I'm not sure. But I believe there's a good player in there too. So we'll watch this space on Big Tuku. Bit of team news. Our friend Max Bradbury has left the club. He's gone up north. I can't remember which club it is, but he's gone up to a Queensland Cup team. And we wish him all the best. He's only young. He's surprisingly young, and he's a heck of a player, great fella. And he just needs a fresh start. I think the club needs a bit of a fresh start. There's no bad blood between them at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Max Bradbury comes back when he's a bit more established. But that also gives there's younger guys coming through, Big Felix and a few of those other guys coming through. Well, actually, quite a few of them. But also, it sort of gives Tuku a bit of breathing room there, as well as the young gun still coming through. So we'll see how that plays out. Another big bopper. We love our big boppers at the Sharks. Tall Tom Hazelton only played 13 games, Josh. Yeah. Started 2. My memory of him is pretty good this year, aside from the injuries. But what did you make of his 13 games?
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought when he played, he was great. And I thought it was very noticeable when he wasn't playing. I think he got injured just around that time where it all started to fall apart in the middle of the year, and we missed. Obviously, he's a big boy and he's got great run and all that stuff. But I thought we really missed his ruck defense. I thought the last 18 months he's really become a strong defender in the middle. And start of his career, I was worried about that, to be honest. And
he's worked on his lateral quite a lot.
Yeah. So a disappointing year in terms of just not being able to play enough, really. I'm going to give him a 7 because I thought when he played, he was really good and was as a point of difference. There's not many guys, again, like the Tuku thing with his body shape, with that tall, rangy, strong try scorer can defend, still really young as well. I think he'd be 26. Like he's got still
Oh,
his
at
best
the
years ahead
most,
of
yeah,
him.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
we will do a bunch of obviously preview episodes for next year and what our teams would be, depth charts. But I'd be surprised if he's not pushing to be the starter with Fanua Blake.
definitely.
But we can talk about that another time. Now, next up, we have, I'm going to say cult figure as well, bit in the Billy Burns stakes. He played 9 games, started 9 games, was pretty electric in at least 6 or 7 of them. And that was a fellow who also had a lot of injuries too. But Mawini Harotti, what did you make of Mawini?
Yeah, like you said, similar to the Billy Burns thing, just like this guy's never going to play first grade again after that infamous Dragons game that we mentioned so many times. And just
Yeah.
a credit to him to be able to come back from a pretty poor year, top to bottom, and then just super reliable, super consistent. Definitely not a winger anymore, in my opinion, at NRL level. I think it's center and at a pinch, probably fullback if we need it, if we need a fill in or something. But
Yeah.
I was again really thoroughly impressed and not worried when he was named on those Tuesday afternoons. I was like, he'll be fine. He'll get a try. He'll stop him. Again, just so unfortunate that when he finally gets a chance, he cops an injury, and there was a chance to go on a really big run of games.
Yeah.
It's just funny how things work like that sometimes. But I thought he was really strong, and I give him a 7.5. There was chat there that he could have kept his spot over Jesse, and it wouldn't have been the most insane thing of all time.
Was it the game that we were sitting up in my seats for when he went nuts? Was it against the Titans or
The
the Knights?
Titans,
Oh, maybe
yeah,
the Titans. Yeah, that was
that
fun.
try assist, like
Yeah.
little kick in behind for Kennedy
Yeah.
was like,
That
where's
was
this
fun.
been?
I remember that. See, it's the things you remember, the moments you remember, the people you're with. That's what it's all about. Another Iron Man coming up, which is good because this fella can find an injury either at the start or the end of the year. And that is the much talked about Nicho Hynes. What did you make of Nicho Hynes' season?
A really underrated year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He had the lull in the middle of the year, which again coincided with the team going poorly, which again is kind of still showing me that we still really rely on him a lot to be great for us to win, which is something we could talk about later and what I think how the team probably goes to the next level. But man, when he was on this year, he was electric, and the bashing of him in the media and other fans and stuff, it bewilders me when you look at his numbers. And I know numbers aren't everything, but in rugby league they say a lot. When you've got 20 plus try assists, his best try scoring year, it'd be one of his best goal kicking years. It's just the clutch moments, I think, and we've talked about that to death, so I don't really want to do that again. But he got us again to another prelims, 2 in a row, and I don't know what much more the guy has to do besides win us a comp to get some bloody credit. And I know he's not
Yeah.
perfect, and he's had some shockers. Like he's had some shockers this year, but he's had more good than bad. And there's not. I mean, how many teams would kill for Nicho Hynes having the team? They can talk all the crap they want, but there'd probably be like 12 teams in the NRL that would bite your hand off for him.
I know that Nicho's actually quoted what you just said, or I guess all that's left, or maybe it was the coach. One of them said the only thing left to do for him is to win a comp. The problem with putting that expectation out now is that one team wins every year, and it's usually one of 3 teams. So
Yeah,
for me, I don't need him to win a comp for me to say whether he's good, bad, indifferent. Like, and that's just the personal thing, right? That's just me. But yeah, I agree. Like, he had a great year, and numbers do mean a lot because it means you're active. It means you're not shirking responsibility. It means you're involved. It means you're important. But like you said, it's not everything. Of course, we've seen. We saw in his last game with us that there was a moment or two that you want back, but you can't have them back, and you got to learn from them. So,
and his
did you give him a
defense,
score?
Sam. So I
Defense is
didn't.
great.
His defense is as I know he's a big guy, but as a half, I think he'd be one of the best defensive halves in the comp easily.
Don't forget that early in his Sharks career, there was some howlers.
Oh
Up
yeah,
there
and
with
look,
the Origin one, which I know wasn't his fault, so to speak. But there were moments that I can see and remember where I was like, "Man, what are you doing?" But he's turned that around big time.
and he still has a couple of those in him, but what NRL
Sure.
player doesn't?
Yeah.
Like Jerome
Yeah.
Hughes has had a shocking grand final. Like it happens, and these
Yeah.
are great players, world class. So I'm going to give him an 8. which I think is a really solid score.
Season again halted by injury, which is pretty unfortunate. One of our best players, but started 14 games. KL Iro.
Another one that just got injured at the wrong time. It was in that Bulldogs game when things were really starting to, fall over, and we needed him really badly, and we lost him.
Yeah.
But when he played again, superstar, like absolute superstar, and is going to be, if he plays the big chunk of next year, he's going to be a top 3 center, like easily. His defensive work like continues to astound me at how little he gets beaten on his outside, and he reads it so naturally, and he slides, and he just, whoever's on his wing next year with Ronaldo being out, if it's Sam or whoever, like they've just got to trust him that he's going to get there and he's going to make the tackle, stay on your man. And the attacking output speaks for itself. I'm giving him an 8.7. Going to decimal point it up.
Now, speaking of wingers, favorite on the show, he's big on the fishing, and that is Sione Katari. He also only played one more game than KL. Hurt himself in the trial match, and then we had to wait a while to see him, but he played 15 games, and that is Sione Katoa.
My boy Sione. Oh, I thought he had a really strong year. And I try to take my bias out with these guys that I really love. But also I think that's a part of being a sports fan, and you're allowed to be biased and you're allowed to love who you love. But I also think he was really good. I don't think he was perfect. Do I think he's the best winger? No. But I love what he brings to this side. And his numbers, okay, like 7 tries I think he ended up having with a disrupted year. His defense, I feel like his defense was a bit improved on last year. He still gets caught out as every winger does, but I thought he improved that this year. And I thought, again, the out of the end ruck, running, just puts his hand up every single set, sometimes twice. It's just invaluable. And he's, for what we're paying him, I think you get a lot out of it. And had a really good game on the weekend for Tonga as well, for the most part. Getting more creative, I think.
Yeah.
And as we've said before, he's a big time player. For whatever reason, you just don't see Sione as this guy that's going to step up and be the guy in finals games. But every time he plays, he's one of the best players on the field. And he was our best again, 2 prelims in a row.
Yeah, I was going to raise that with you. But don't leave out the performance against the Roosters, which was probably to a degree match winning or match saving. Those 2 big kicks. No one expected him to get those, and he got them. Did well against Canberra. So, yeah, he's a big-time player. I don't know why we're not used to that. And it's not like he's inconsistent week in, week out, but something about big matches, and he's like close to our best, if not our best. So
I think it's a brain explosion, because he has that in him. Like, people go, big game, he's going to crumble. Yeah,
we saw it. Some of the times, though, that doesn't lead to anything. It doesn't matter. It just becomes a bit of a bad memory, that we see in highlight reels or whatever. But like sometimes that stuff doesn't matter. Sometimes, but yeah, I mean, we need him to be injury free. That's for sure. We definitely,
especially now.
Yes, that's what I meant. A fellow that played 22 games. It felt like less, but 22 games. He started 17 of those, and that is big Oregon Kaufusi.
It's very right, and it's very apt for Kaufusi to be sometimes forgotten, and just there. I think he had a good year. I think his defense is really good. I think that's one thing about him. His ruck defense, the same as Tom. When they're on, that middle gets pretty locked up for the most part. We just need to see a little more fire from him consistently. You see it every now and then, and you go, man, if we got that, if we got those 3 big runs and the 5 offloads, if we got that 15 times a year instead of 5, it'd be a different complexion of the side. Because when he decides he's like, I'm offloading, he gets it away, and he's good at it. And he has a couple of big runs in him, but still, I just need to see it more. I think this is a big year for him. I know that's easy to say about every player, but I think this is a huge year for him in the context of his Sharks career and where he wants to be as a player. So I'm going to give him a 6, but I feel like it's not as bad as it sounds, that rating for me. I feel like he was, it's a strong 6.
Iron Man re-signed for next year. Started the season incredibly. Ended up in the top 10 Dally M's, I think. Will Kennedy.
The infamous Will, hey? So much said. It's a really hard one for me. I thought he was, some games, absolutely electric. Like unbelievable. You're going, this guy is like, we got to sign him for 3 years. And then he has these moments or these games and these lapses, and he just go, we need something else. Like just now, like hookable moments. And I think that's a defining thing of his career. And I just don't know where I sit anymore with Will. I think I'm going to give him a 7 because I think there was more good than bad this year. But there's just some moments where I just want to rip my hair out watching him play. And then he'll do something amazing. I'll go, what was I thinking? Of course, he's amazing. Okay. And that's just been my life with him.
Well, we'll see how long that life continues for. Next up, one of your favorites. He was pretty good until it all came crashing down injury-wise. Cam McInnes, 22 games, and he started all 22.
Yeah, the same day of the that try we were just talking about against the Titans when we were up there. And we didn't even really notice. We didn't kind of see, or I didn't anyway.
He walked off.
I'm like, oh, yeah, I missed it. But I think we were celebrating a try or something, and he'd come off. And we just go, oh, Cam's not out there. He's not on the bench. And then we saw him come with the knee, and then we saw some reports coming in, and they're like, oh, it could be ACL. And we're like, it's fine. He's walking sweet. No issue. He's got a bit of ice. And then, obviously the thing came through. But it wasn't I don't think it was his best year. I thought he had some moments. I think it's just like that. The style of football he plays might be slowly catching up with him a little bit. But I mean, who knows? Maybe like this extra long layoff and ripping in for one last, little push in his career might be a blessing in disguise, perhaps. And I'm gonna give him a 6.5.
Okay. Next up, we have, speaking of ACLs, I laugh and I shouldn't laugh, and I'm not laughing. Played 26 games, and they were pretty good ones. Scored 17 tries, I believe, and that is Ronaldo Militalo.
Yeah, Ronnie. Got so gutted for him, eh? Like just having such a good career at this point, not minimal injuries and off, and to do it again, you could have done it anywhere, right? But to do it in an international game sort of hurts a little bit. But
yeah,
I begrudge him for that. I actually thought he had quite a soft start to the year. I actually thought he started quite slow, and he tends to do this every year where he kind of has this lulling start and he's working into a season, and then he just explodes and doesn't look back. And he did it again this year. And just kind of does these things that no other wingers, not many other wingers have. He just creates things, and there's always something happening around him, good, bad, or indifferent. Most of the time it's good. And we're going to really miss him next year. I'm glad if it was going to happen, it was now. We're going to see him again next year. And it didn't happen in January. You never know these recoveries. If they go well, we could still get 10 rounds of Ronnie at the end of the year. So I thought this year, though, I'm giving him an 8. That was really good.
All right. His teammate internationally as well, 20 games starting, 23 in total, 3 off the bench, infamously at the end of the season. And that was Britain Nikora.
Brit. I think a pretty poor year. I think he started really well. I thought he started really well, actually. And I was like, man, he's going to score 15 tries this year and, average 100 meters and all this stuff. And then he just, I don't know, you never know what's going on, if they're carrying injuries or there's stuff going on at home or whatever. I just thought I wouldn't say he looked disinterested, but there was just times where he was not as engaged as when he's at his best. And I thought his defense was still good and stuff, but It was just I don't think it was. I think he'd be the first to admit it probably wasn't his best year. But he's still. I mean, he's still a hell of a player. And I would suggest he'll know that he needs to lift with Billy on him. So I'm going to give him a 6.
Okay. I think there was a few injuries there we didn't know about until later on, but that's a fair appraisal. Hohepa Puru played 5 games. Hard to judge him on that one, but we'll watch this space and what happens next year. I'm assuming he's signed with us. I haven't studied the contracts, but
we need Kieran for that.
We need Kieran. Now, 24 games from Jesse Ramian. He's been in the papers in the past week. Rumors that he's been shopped around. And my information is that if he's being shopped around, it's not by the club, it's by other parties. So make of that what you will. But what did you make of Jesse Ramian this year, Josh?
Yeah, not his best year either. I thought similar to Britt. I know he's had stuff going on in his life and all that sort of thing. Not enough output in terms of try assist. Just looked a little, just got a little more manhandled this year. Like looked like they wrapped him up and there was concerted effort to try and shut him down, and I think it worked. So I am going to go a 6 again for Jesse.
All right. 6 starting games, 17 in total. Cult figure moves to hero status for the final series. Well, even before the final series, really. That is Toby Rudolph.
Yeah, I think a good year from Toby. Had like a dip there. He was injured at the start of the year and then kind of came back and just looked off it completely. I just don't think he was fit. And then end of year, amazing energy, character. You can see the character is on the field, even though he takes it really seriously. When it's time to go, he really flicks a switch.
Yeah.
And I was I was happy to see him go, and now I think there's been a revigorated energy about him and taking footy seriously again. That I'd be looking to keep him as well if on a fair deal. And I'm going to give Tobes a 7.
Okay. 11 games to start the season, 8 tries, and I got a feeling he'll be starting the season again this year. That is Samuel Stonestreet, fresh off signing a 1-year deal.
Yeah, hot and cold. I think for Sam. I think when things are created for him at the moment, he's really good. I just don't. He doesn't, and not all wingers have to have this, but I just don't think that he creates much for himself. Mm-hmm. And not. I mean, maybe we're just spoilt by the some of the talent we've got in our side. But I think he'll score plenty of tries next year. That left side is where we hammer attack, and but this year I just thought some clumsy moments, and I don't know. Just I'm not fully inspired by him yet, but I just need to see more, and he's going to get a good crack next year. So I'm going to give him a 6.
He could become more creative the more experience he gets. Sometimes you see young guys come in and they're a bit, I better do my job and nothing else kind of thing. And because in the lower grades, for the Jets, we've seen him create things out of nothing. So he's got it in his game. But yeah, I guess the other thing is if he tries that and it goes wrong, well, then we're all hammering him, So it's kind of a interesting situation to be in. But yeah, I think at the moment he's got the inside running for that gig. 7 games starting, but 24 in total. He was our super sub. He was the beast, and that is Sifa Talakai.
Yeah, one of the big dogs of the team, eh? We don't have many, I don't think. Just guys who just command, have a presence and command respect. And I never want him to leave. I don't care if he's 35 and he's playing horribly. Give the man a contract.
Yeah.
Just when he comes on, you see that when you see Sifa come on and he's waiting for that first run, man, it just pumps me up. There's just there's not many guys like that for us, and it sucks that he can't play more. I wish he would. I wish he could. I wish we'd somehow figure out a way for him to play 80 minutes and not imbalance the team. I think he's amazing. I'll give him an 8.
if there's a way to, if they keep doing what they're doing and just limit the minutes, and there's a way to keep him at the club until he's 35, then it could be a genius move because you're going to get all this extra time and years out of him in theory, if it all goes well, because he's not damaging his body as much. But that's assuming we keep him for all those years. So
yeah,
don't know what's going to happen there. But a fellow who played 26 games, so pretty good. There's only one game he missed. And in some of those games, he really led us around the park, and that was Braden Trindle.
I'll go back and forth on my year with Tricky because I think he's an outstanding player. And I think we're so blessed to have two gun halves that, some teams don't have one. And again, I think it was like his best is incredible grand final winning sort of stuff. And then his worst is like, oh dear, like, should he be playing this week? Like, I think that's the next step for Tricky is to minimize the difference between those two and have his best, more weeks than not. I don't know every player wants to do that, of course, but when he's on, he can win you a game, like on his own. Like he just has that ability. He'll kick a 40-20, he can kick goals, he scores tries for fun as a half. And his numbers are still really good. He just had a couple of games with just some poor decisions. And I thought he tried his guts out in the prelim, for example. Just it was not happening for him.
Yeah.
But I'd rather that than just go missing.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give him a 7.5. I still think he had a pretty strong year.
Yeah, I feel in a lot of ways the same way, Josh, about him. And like he's obviously a good player. He's at times a great player. The effort is usually there, as you say. Like it's not many times where you look at him and go, "What the hell are you doing?" It's more like, why did you do that?" But the effort is there. He doesn't tend to go missing, which is great in a half. So yeah, I'm with you. We just need to see it more consistently, and maybe that's an age thing, maybe it's an experience thing as well. But yeah, good year for Trindle. We had Chris Vela play 2 games. Trindle is still young, yeah. That's the beauty with a lot of these guys. They're still young, but he would have played a whole bunch of games now. Chris Vela only played 2 games. You might see more of him next year. We'll see what happens there. He scored on debut. I think he played on either side of the field. It was a very kind of indifferent inauguration NRL for him. So we might just wish him all the best for next year. We'll watch him in the off season with close eyes. But to round it out, Teague Wilton played 21 games. Yeah, down 6 games. It felt like it was 3 games at a time. I can't remember how it happened, but it felt like he went missing in a couple of chunks there. And when he wasn't there, I found it very noticeable. What did you make of Teague's season?
Yeah, I think when Teague's on and he's in a game and engaged and playing well, there's not many times we lose. I think he's that good. Yeah, and there's some people out there that's still not 100% sold on him. I think he'll probably end up getting a couple of games at Origin eventually. Like he's just built for that. He's just tough. He's young, doesn't shirk away from the hard work, and he's got talent. He can, he's got a decent little pass. He's got a little kick on him. Runs a great line. Like he's got all the packages. Like he's got the package as a player, I think, and leadership qualities. And I thought, like you said, when he wasn't there, we really missed him. And he had he'd play 5 games and get injured, and then he'd play 4 games and get injured. So I'm going to give him a 7.5. There was a couple of games where he's like his numbers look great, like his meters and some of his like on paper, but you always notice him out there. He's always having a crack and trying to whack someone. To our detriment in the prelim, where he tried to kill someone respectfully and bounced off, and it led to a try. So those are the things. I just need to pick his moments better.
Yeah. All right. So that was Josh Bolling's 2025 player ratings. I know a lot of you look forward to this moment. So that is how Joshy felt about it. Glad that we got to do that. And so you've heard from myself, Josh, Clinton, and Kieran. I'm not sure if we'll get to the other guys, but we'd love to hear what you guys and girls thought about the season and the player rankings and that kind of stuff. Let us know if we're way off, as you usually do, or let us know what you think. You'll be seeing more of Josh over the summer and spring, I have no doubt. You'll be seeing more of my mug, no doubt. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening, watching, subscribe. And it's the best way because sometimes we don't get to promote the show. Therefore, you won't know if it's up online. If you're following us via Facebook, etc., not everything appears there. But if you subscribe to or you're listening, watching, it's a guarantee you'll get every episode. And there's going to be more episodes coming before you know it, especially over spring and summer. Josh Bolling, thanks for your time. I've got one thing left to say to you. Make sure you are subscribed to your Amazon Prime, or if you're not, if you're like a downloader, if you get it illegally, I couldn't care less. The Runarounds TV show, 8-part series, 8-season series, what I'm trying to say, about an hour long, The Runarounds. And that goes for everyone listening. Go watch it, The Runarounds. Got it?
Sounds good. Can't wait.
All right. We will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for your time, Josh. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. You know how we feel, and all we got left to say is up, Cronulla.